Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and today we're going to do another live broadcast. We're going to probably need to wait a little while for everybody to get in here, so all right. Wow, Carrie, that was amazing. How did you get here so quickly? That's wonderful. I was just saying that what I found was last time it was really difficult. It took a while for everybody to be warned that I was going on, and now you got here immediately. So something went right. Excuse me. Hi, Jill. How you doing? Okay. So you receive notifications because you have clicked on the bell, presumably. Hi, Kim. Good to see you again. Wow, this is much quicker than last time. I really must say that I am really glad that choking him. I'm really glad that YouTube has made live streaming easier to do because the other system they had was really complicated. And so this makes it a lot easier. So before everybody gets here, do any of you have any questions, or do any of you have any subjects you'd like me to talk about? Yeah, I don't know what suddenly. I think because you know what I did, Carrie. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture or some pictures of my aquarium. Well, the aquarium went yesterday, and so the that doesn't look very pretty, does it? Does that look better? Somehow or other, the boxes just don't do it for me. Anyway, so the aquarium went yesterday, and what I had, I had a rug that was underneath the base of the aquarium. I had a really, of course, being me, I had a really big picture type aquarium, and it stood on its own like bookcase thing, and that in turn stood on a mat. And so I had a day yesterday with Dougie, or afternoon, and one of the things that we took out of the house was the aquarium, but it left the mat. I don't know if any of you are like me, but I knew that it was going to be yucky. Hi, Forever Young. I knew it was going to be yucky, and I didn't know whether there would be big crawly things under it, or whether over the course of time the maybe water had dripped down and ruined the flooring underneath it. Can any of you imagine my horror? Oh, starting is so hard. Okay. Hi there, Sierra. Good to see you. Hi, Rose. Hi, stranger. How the heck are you, Roseanne? Anyway, so what I did was I was talking to Jody this morning, and I took a picture of the rug, and you'll see it because I'll put it on a vlog. But it was like, can anybody understand how scared I am to actually move this rug to see what's underneath it? So I think the reason I'm coughing is because I did move it, Carrie, and I think you're quite right. What it is the good news was I still have flooring underneath it, and the bad news was, yeah, I think the allergies got to me, the dust allergies. But it was so scary. I can't tell you. I was just sitting there going, I am so scared to move that. What if it's totally ruined the floor? And they're going, yeah, but what if it hasn't, Sal? Trying to be a big girl. Um, Hi, Em. Good to see you. Well, you know something, Roseanne? We've been having problems with both Tiny Chat and Vaughn, and then suddenly YouTube made it easier, and I can't help wondering whether that's a coincidence, but YouTube made it easier to broadcast live with them. So we did a couple of test runs on Friday, and it really made a lot of sense. And this is where the subscribers are. Why wouldn't I do it here? Now, I haven't made it private, so if anybody's looking for me, they're going to find out that we're here. So you're going to meet some new people. And the wonderful thing is we get to meet some of the street teamers. So, Roseanne, the main thing is I'm delighted to hear you're still breathing. And I presume, you'll forgive me on this one, I presume that you will want some updating. Let me think here. Is there anybody in particular you'd like me to update you on? Oh, multiculturalism in Europe and the loss of identity for European countries. I don't think it's just European countries forever trendy. By the way, I gather you're from Europe? Hi, Linda. She's from Europe. Missy Moo is Linda, and she's from the UK. How do I feel about multiculturalism? Well, I think it's a done deal. I think it's not just in Europe. I think in the world, multiculturalism is here to stay. Clever to click the bell. Hi, Erin. Ah, big hugs. And did you see who's Roseanne is here, Erin? There's a voice from the past. And Linda is Missy Moo, Erin, just so that you know Linda from the UK. You will remember her from the broadcast some time ago. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Multiculturalism is only in white countries. I don't think there are any white countries anymore, quite honestly. I think we're way past that. And so to me, it's like I don't see that. I think it's just a case of I think a lot of people are struggling with the changes. And so to me, what I was trying to explain to people, well, I'm not sure that you can. So would you like me to explain why I don't think you can? Well, you could, yeah. That's what I said as well, Linda. I think there's no such thing as a white country anymore. Okay, let me ask you something. Where do you live? Just give me the country so I can sort of make it relevant. I always try and do in the Netherlands, okay? Country of my birth, for those of you who don't know that. I was born in the Netherlands. All right. So, on average, how many children does the average family have in the Netherlands? Yeah, Shell, we're going to talk about that in a sec. All right. So let me just try and get this multicultural thing down, and then we will. This is just my view, by the way, people, and forever trendy. I don't have the right answer. I'm just going to give you my. All right. So you're saying that the average family has 2 to 3 children. Okay. Now, how many children does the average? Yeah, actually Muslim has more than 3. I would think they're closer to 4 or 5. So if you do the math, in one generation, how many? And it's not just Muslims, by the way. If you take different cultures, you're going to find that That's where the math comes in. If you do the math, it's a done deal. You can close your borders to everybody if that's what you want to do. It's so sad, but it is the way that it is. So what I'm trying to say, you can do what Denmark has done. Do you know what Denmark has done forever? Yes, some people see it as fearful, in a fearful way, and some people see it as expanding their knowledge. I must admit, Canada's pretty multicultural. We actually pride ourselves in our diversity. Don't think we had one, Linda. I just this one came up before I was going to start talking about Shell's issue, but I just want to make sure that people understand if you do the math. You see, the way that I look at it forever, if you say, okay, let's start here, and we've got one family that comes from a Muslim or even a Hindu, actually not, family. You're looking at. Oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Really, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I have to say that it may be true but I don't think those words really help anybody. I don't think it's genocide. No, I'm not doubting that you're right, and that's what I'm saying, because if you do the math, those countries and those religions that have a lot of children. By the way, I spent 17 years there. And I was there before it truly became multicultural. So I remember that. Hi, Andy. Good to see you. So to me, it's like, I think, why do we have to, if you want to close all the borders, not let anybody in, that's your right. And that's what you vote for. That's why you have a vote and so forth. I think that somewhere there's a balance. All right. So if you look at what Denmark has done forever trendy, have you seen what Denmark did? I just want to make sure that you know that Denmark actually put down some very strict laws. Yeah. So Denmark said, if you want to live here, you need to live by our rules, and you need to live by our codes of conduct, and and you have to speak the language, and you may not bring in all your family in 16 generations thereafter. They had some very strict rules about people who came into Denmark, and some people said, that they were too strict, but Denmark is trying to preserve its nationality. And I think it has every right to. South Africa, I was there during the days of apartheid. I originally went there, and, it was horrible, quite honestly. I spent so much time trying to educate the African people. But eventually, even South Africa changed, all right? And not necessarily for the worse. Now, is there still corruption there? You bet. My brother is still there. I have quite a lot of input from him. But, so please, I think if you want to be happy in life, it really is important to understand that change is coming, which brings me back to Shell. Shell, I don't know what this change is, and you don't have to talk about it unless you want to. But Shell, I don't know what this change is, but I really have to say, if you want to be happy, and I think most of us do, if you want to be happy, think about the willow tree. The reason the willow tree is so beautiful is it bends with the wind. It doesn't stand rigid and fight the wind all the time. It just literally flows with it, right? Now, I'm not saying that all change is good, because I don't think it is. Who cares where they come from? Some people do, Missy. Linda, some people really do care. Some people think that their countries are going to be worse off because they have diversity. And some people see that diversity as something else. Yeah. So, Shell, do you understand that? I would have you bear that in mind. Do you think, I don't know if you know, Shell, but I'm busy downsizing. Um, I'm busy downsizing my house and selling it. So, to me, that's a huge change. And at my age, that's not easy. But luckily, with you guys supporting me through this, I've been able to take this on with a bit of a sense of humor. And so, do I want to do it, Shell? No, not particularly. But, it's amazing what I'm learning. And by the way, for those of you who are regular followers, my I'm a slob watch. Some people call that an exercise watch. Well, my I'm a slob watch has gone missing for some reason. Wait a minute. I just want to see if I can. Aha. I don't know if that works, but Carrie, I tried to make you a moderator. Did it tell you that you have become one? Yeah, it must have made you one because I now have the option to remove you as one. Okay, Jody, could you send up a note somewhere so I can turn you into a moderator? Now you're going to ask me, how do we do what we do? Oh, there you go. Look at that, Carrie. You've got a whole different. See that, Carrie? You've got a little. What do you call that? A wrench. Yeah, it has. By the way, for those of you who don't know Carrie, she's a real wrench. All right, Jody, need you to say something so I can make you a mod. There you go. Good girl. I love it when you obey. Moderator. Oh, look at that. I learned something new today. Okay, so wait a while, Jody. It's going to make you a moderator. How many of you know how exciting that was? Yeah, Carrie's got a wrench. You're going to see her now. She's so excited. I was the first one to get a wrench. All right, so where were we? So, Shell, how big a change is coming? Pleasure, Jody. And there she is. She's also got a wrench. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they get very excited, Shell. My moderators are quite excitable people. And Carrie and Jody, just because we've going to be seeing a lot of new people, because this is going to attract people from different areas now, we may need to make sure everybody knows the rules pretty well before we be careful. YouTube is very fussy about the language that's used, Carrie, and I can get wiped off the face of the earth. So my moderators will not be letting you use those words. And will they, Carrie? When I grow up, I want to be a wrench. Yeah, if you're not careful, you'll turn into a wrench. Very clever. So, Linda, is Nicholas watching? Should we be sending him a hug? I just want to make sure I get that one covered if he's watching. Lily, you saw me at Yale this year. Isn't that wonderful? Well, hi, Lily. Welcome. And for those of you who don't know what Yale is, that's the young people thing, the leadership thing that I do. So if you've got any questions about how bad I am as a speaker, Lily would be the person to tell you. And by the way, Lily, I'm going to be going down to the States in April to go and talk to a club about you guys. Can I speak Dutch? No, not anymore. So, Shell, are you the change? Let me just make sure I understand. Is the change physical, mental? In what way will there be change, or is there change? Okay, will you give him a hug from me anyway, Linda, when he wakes up tomorrow, please? Tell him Sal said hi. Linda's son has listened to me for many years now. So, Shell, here is the thing about the change that I want to explain is, if you guys don't know this, that change can have as much effect on you, whether it is positive or negative. Did you know that? The stress of something that's very happy, like a wedding or a promotion or whatever, is equal to something as sad as a death or the loss of a job. Did you guys know that? When you look at the stress scale, they have equal weight. So, Shell, is it a major on the scale? That would be a change in relationship, change in your house, where you live, change in your job. Is it one of the majors? Oh, okay. Because, Shell, you still want people to be like you are. Ask Jody. Jody's an expert at this one now. When I first met Jody, she was ruler of the universe too, in a lot of ways. So here is the thing. The mental people judge you. Well, that's good. Shell, do you want my 2x4 or do you want me to be nice? You've known me a while, Shell, so you get a choice here. Now, yeah, Carrie also knows about the 2x4. You see, when you say to me, I feel weak, that's because you are, Shell. Yeah, that's why you feel weak, right? And they're not doing it to you. You're doing it to you. So I say that with all the love in the world, because if I've always said to people, if you are getting resentful or if things are affecting your mood, that is on you, not on them. Shell, does this make any sense at all? Good. Good. That's a really good place to start. And Carrie's been there, and Jody's been there, and boy, I've been there as well. And by the way, Shell, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not perfect at this. I need help from people as well. And that's what we do here, Shell. You know that. Right. So, are there certain things that trigger you? I always want to not let people bug me. Okay, so can you give us an example, Shell? It's always much easier to sort of work around some examples than it is just to make them up. Ah, you like the willow tree. Learn to bend. It's just their opinion, Shell. It's not the truth. Do you understand the difference? Can you imagine, Shell, just for a second, can you imagine how many nasty comments I've had on YouTube? And how many times I wanted to pull the plug because why would I continue? I'm holding on, Shell. Well, think about that. Give me an example, Linda. It's easier if I can give the example because then everybody can understand it, right? At the moment, you've got a picture in your head. Shell's got a picture in hers. So let's get some examples up. If anybody else has got an example where people trigger them. Okay, I'm in recovery 3. Wow, congratulations, Shell. Oh, okay, fine. So by the way, Shell, you want the real version or the polite one? Yeah, very proud of you. Shell, I think one of the most difficult things about overcoming an addiction of any sort, and there are other people in the room here who've overcome addictions. Yeah, the real version, that's what I thought. Um, you see, one of the things that in being 3 years sober, the biggest thing that you have to cope with in overcoming an addiction, Shell, is your emotion, because you always use the addiction to overcome the emotion, right? I used to smoke like a chimney, all right? And so being 5 years clean of smoking, believe you me, I realized how many times, hi BMC, I I can tell you, I used to say, I need to sit down and have a cigarette. What I really needed was to sit down and stop, or sit down and think. But cigarettes was what I did it with, you know what I mean? And so I found that when I gave up that addiction, Linda, 5 years, good for you. You're right. Well, yeah, yeah, 5 years. It actually was 5 years in January. Um, at 9:30 in the morning on January the 12th. And by the way, Linda, I just threw out cigarettes from my house. I kept cigarettes in the house. You've quit for a year? Totally? Oh, I take some credit for that. So proud of you. All right, so Shell, let's get back to this thing. So people keep putting you down. Are they family? Well, Shell, that's why we're here. Yeah, Linda, I know you did. Well, no, you did it for you, but you just knew if I could do it, anybody could, right? So, Shell, the difficulty is, and I've got to tell you this truth because otherwise I'm not being who I am. They're always going to judge you because the people of whom you speak are judgmental people. Does that make any sense? If you want to have a nightmare, Shell, yesterday I had strangers come into my home. Oh, they don't care. Shell, honey, they don't care. They're not those sort of people. You want them to appreciate how hard you've worked. Well, hello, that's your stuff, not theirs. We know how much you worked your butt off. Anybody who's overcome an addiction, I know how hard they've worked. Well, they're never going to want to see it. Yeah, these strangers came into my house yesterday and to help me clean up my garage. You guys will get pictures on the vlogs coming up. Can you imagine how embarrassing it was for me to have strangers come into my house and help me clean out my garage? My garage is that place. Oh, I don't know where to put this. Let's chuck it in the garage. Now, Shell, this is what we do. We help people feel normal again when they realize that they can't change. You remember the serenity prayer, Shell? You're not going to change some people. You'll excuse my language, they're going to remain dinks. You know what I mean? I hope I'm allowed to say that. You're not going to change them. But the good news about getting clean, Shell, is that you start to recognize the dinks more quickly. Have you noticed that? They're not safe people to be around. You need places to vent. So, Shell, I hope you know that you can write to me anytime and have a little vent moment. You do know that, right? Or even a big one. Because I totally understand. That's why I started to do Dear Mama Sal. Okay, so Shell, you're not alone. And the most important thing, remember the willow, and remember that every time they got to you, they won. Right? So your boundary is not strong enough. You know, this is called, I know you're trying to mess with my brain, but it's not going to work this time. I actually, Shell, I don't know if you're a churchgoer or anything, but I use the same tactic that I used to quit smoking, which was I could feel the need. I could feel the need to smoke. And I'd go, I hear you, devil, but you're not going to get the better of me. Good. We'll try with that, Shell. And, you might need 16 different visuals for this to work. I now am more aware, and that's the trick, Shell, is to be more aware of what triggers you, right? People judging you triggers you. I need you, whenever you get triggered, to go, yeah, I got triggered, but it's just their opinion. And who says that their opinion is the right one? You see, you need to continue the conversation with yourself. You just going, oh, that hurt. It's not fair. That's victim stuff. I nearly said another word. Shell, that's victim stuff, honey. Makes sense. They hurt me. No, they didn't. They said something and you chose, your interpretation was to interpret it to hurt you. Okay. Now, I totally understand this. I've got a room full of people most days of the week that will totally understand it with you. So anytime you need any support, if you like, Shell, we'll put you into a small group of people who understand what you're going through. And we'll, link you up on Facebook or something, because that's what we do. We create these little groups of people who understand each other so that you can vent. And guess who's got a number of little groups that she's part of? Me. Because can you imagine how many times I need to have a vent? Yes, you could, Linda. You just needed, you know what they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, Linda. When we first met you, gosh, I think about that, and that brings tears to my eyes. Isn't that funny? But when we first met you, you were in quite a state, and you needed to meet us. And, I could say that about a number of people. Okay, that didn't work very well. Not very professional. Sorry about that. But, Shell, we all need it, honey. It's not just you. That's why we meet 3 times a week. This is exactly what we do, is we help people get through things. And it's not easy, is it? Linda, did you bake your own bread? Why did I think you bake your own bread? Yeah, big hugs to everybody here. All right. Does anybody here bake their own bread? Because I really do have to discuss this. And I guess I need to do a video on it now that I've found out that it works so well. Okay, that's what I thought. Have you ever tried the Chinese way of making bread? Hi. Wait. Purple Potato's real name is Jody. Yeah, she ever wrote it. Oh, if I read the thing, it would help. I want to tell you, it's very difficult, Jody. Okay, Purple Potato, I'm going to have to call you that because we've got another Jody. Or we'll call you Jody with an E, because my other Jody doesn't have an E. Right, so do you want to know, I'm a year and a half into retirement. Do you want to know what I notice most? I haven't done many videos on that, by the way, but I'll gladly tell you what I've noticed most about retiring. Yeah, I know, a Jody with an E. And we got Jody with a wrench, and we got Jody with an E. How about that? I'm glad that you enjoyed the broadcast, and I'm trying to work out whether to leave the total broadcasts up on YouTube or whether to edit them down or what to do. So you guys will just have to tell me. All right, so retirement. For how many of you are close to or even think about it? And how many are there any others that, like me, have retired? Here's what I found, Jody with an E. I found I was totally unprepared. I thought it was going to be such fun. Says an elephant. I thought it was going to be such fun, and I was actually amazed that it wasn't. It was the only thing that in the first, give yourself a good year, Jody with an E. Give yourself a good year to work out that your brain has got to slow down. Well, hasn't got to, but is allowed to slow down. Because I think that was the biggest challenge for me. The other thing was how many times I would say, I better go to bed now. And then I'd hear this voice go, why? Well, it's getting late. Hi, Peaches. It's getting late. So, well, I shouldn't really binge watch another episode. Why not? You're retired. I go, right. I'm beginning to get there now, Jody with an E. I'm to give myself permission to do whatever I want. That is very difficult, when you've lived a very disciplined life all your life. I totally was unprepared for it financially, and I will talk about that a lot. So if any of you are young enough, i.e., any of you still in your 20s or 30s, save for your retirement. And the best thing I did was to buy the house, quite honestly, because now I have the ability to sell my house and use the equity that I've built up in the house to live on. But, I didn't want to sell the house. Yes, it's a different busy, isn't it, Em? What are you more busy doing? I don't know how I ever had time to work, quite honestly. Yeah, it's a heck of an adjustment. And the main thing is you don't realize how much you were pushing yourself. Em, would you agree with that? I didn't realize how much I was pushing myself every day. I also didn't know I was sick, Jody. So that was a problem. Jody with an E. That was a problem. I didn't know that I had sleep apnea in a bad way, and that I wasn't getting any REM sleep. So that was very, very difficult. And I'm glad to tell you that the mask works for me. I'm beginning to get some energy back and my sense of humor back. And I'm not trying to kill people anymore. And I don't mean literally, obviously, but verbally. I was very weird for about 6 months. Well, more weird. Well, yes, that's what I was told by a top banker. Buy the biggest house you can, but in the best area you can. You see, the real value, Linda, of any property is not the property, it's the land underneath it. Yeah, Jody was saying that to me the other day. How did I ever work full time, do all the work that I do on December, and vlog every day? It's just like I don't know how I did it. Yeah. Well, we miss hanging out with you, Erin. So, Erin, how's your health doing? For those of you who don't know, Erin actually has been, I want to say hospitalized, but she's under care at the moment to help her. And Erin, I don't know if you know, but Lauren is in hospital at the moment as well. And she had operation yesterday or the day before. To sort out some infection. We're so lucky that she didn't go totally toxic and lose a limb. All right. So you may have sleep apnea because you get up at 3 a.m. Let me tell you something about sleep apnea. apparently all of us, does anybody not know what sleep apnea is? And that's not being stupid. I just want to know how much you need me to explain. Okay. The thing that happened to me was that I didn't know that I had sleep apnea. All I knew was I was getting more and more tired. And when 2 years later they eventually did the tests on me, it turned out that I was waking up 16 times an hour from sleep apnea, which is where you can't breathe because you have you have relaxed the muscles at the back of your throat that have blocked your airway. Does that make sense to everybody? That you're lying there, and the reason you start to snore is because these muscles relax, and you're doing that, right? Lovely noise. And what happens with sleep apnea is it relaxes so much that it blocks the airwaves, and you wake yourself up because you can't breathe. It's a good reason to wake up, because if you didn't, you'd be dead. So what I didn't realize was I was doing that 16 times an hour. But I also found out that I have restless leg syndrome. If any of you know what that is, that's where your legs twitch a bit. And mine were twitching so badly that they were waking me up 15 times an hour. So you add the 16 times an hour for the problem and another 15 for the restless leg. I wasn't getting a whole lot of sleep, people. I wasn't getting any REM sleep, and REM is your restorative sleep. So if you suspect that you could have sleep apnea, get tested. It's a very simple test that they do. It's no wonder I was shattered. No. But here's the bad thing, Linda, and I didn't realize this. I didn't realize I was damaging my nervous system. I was damaging my organs because I was not getting enough oxygen into my system at night. This wasn't just that I was snoring or I was feeling a bit woozy. I was doing damage to my body. So if you think, Jody with an ear, you might have sleep apnea, get tested. Ah, 1.5 hour commute. I mean, that's 3 hours a day. Or is that 1.5 hour both ways? Well, you keep the willow tree going until the next time we can talk about it. Shell, come in. You know that we broadcast 3 times a week. So we'll keep, and write to me anytime. I'll put you in touch with some good people. Linda, if your GP has recommended it, do it. Now, I did do a vlog on it somewhere. So if you need me to give you the link to that vlog, the worst thing about doing the test is that you look like Frankenstein. If you do the full test, where they take you into hospital overnight, they put electrodes over you all over the place, including about 6 on your head. Yeah, but Linda, you don't understand that. You're not doing fine. You think you're fine, but you're not. It's BS. Right? The reason you're fine, Linda, is you can't afford not to be. Right? Because you've got a son who needs you 24/7. So here is the thing. It's okay, Carrie. We love that you're here anyway. And it's so nice to know you're going to have clean clothes. Did Lolo come in? Why did I not? Oh, there she is. Hi, Lola. How you doing? No, I didn't. No, Jody with an E. That's Miss Purple Potato, Lola. Lola joins us, by the way, from Louisiana. And if you guys want to just roll down where you're from, because there are new people here and old people here that don't know where you're all from, and some people like to know. I suppose they could have asked, couldn't they? But just do a little roll call here so everybody knows where you're from. Okay, my first month I slept. I've got to tell you that. I tried very hard to live a normal life, but I slept. That is, Linda, sleeping in the afternoon is a sure sign. You need to get tested. Yeah, I want to tell you something. I cannot tell you the difference I'm beginning to feel. How long has it been now? I've been on the machine for 2 months, I think, coming up 2 months at the end of the month. And guess what? The brain's beginning to work again. All 2 cells are beginning to function. My sense of humor is back. I feel that my vitality is back in different ways. I'm more able to cope. I'm not as overwhelmed as I was. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm in southern British Columbia in Canada. Hi, Kenny. Welcome. So, to me, sleep is, I didn't realize how much damage I was doing to myself. Yeah, getting my sense of humor back is definitely a plus for me. I was, I hate to say this, Linda, I was beginning to feel old. Now, we know I am, but I was really beginning to feel old. Yeah, actually, I'm surprised. Jody with an E, it's really funny because I very nearly didn't vlog anything about it because I was so embarrassed and I thought I was the only one who had the problem. But so many of you have commented that you value it. And so many of you understand, the little things. I was amazed. I had all these people helping me yesterday, and I saw all these people. I had 3 men helping me yesterday, and it was really weird because I've got a lot of empty boxes that I didn't know about. And I've lived here for nearly 20 years. You collect a lot of junk in 20 years, especially if you get attached to things. you know. But I was amazed how much stuff I had of other people's. That really surprised me. I made a call to my friend yesterday and said, "You better get your sorry butt over here. I have 4 boxes that have got nothing to do with me, and they had pictures in them. And luckily, I recognized one of your children because apparently she needed some storage space one day and brought some boxes here." Well, Jody, it's wonderful to hear that you can relate to it. And I will continue to do it because it's going to get more stressful and things are going to shift. I must admit that the other Jody with a wrench and Lauren, who is in hospital at the moment, they've been really good on a day-to-day basis for me because they keep me on track. And Carrie actually is doing a really good job as well. They're sort of there for me to bounce off because I don't do it easily. Jody, did you understand that? It's not easy for me to do. I get very, very blocked. It's a bit like being a writer. I know I've got to pack more up, but I don't want to go into that area because I know that's horrible to do, or I know it's got some really emotional stuff and I don't want to touch it because if I touch it, I won't be able to throw it away. Boy, but if you could see what I threw away yesterday, I know that most of it I should have donated. I know that. But I had to think about it this way, Jody with an E. If this makes any sense to you, I had to think about not what was the right thing to do, but what was the easiest for my mental health. Does that make sense to anybody? And I literally was looking at a box and going, I know what that is, chuck it. Just chuck it. And they're going, but, I'm saying, go, take it. And then I'd open up the next one and I'd look at it and I'd go, okay, I know what's in there, take it. Rocking chair I've had for 20 years. Take it. The aquarium. Yeah, I know I should have given that to some kid that deserves a beautiful aquarium. But you know something? I let people know about it. Nobody wanted it. Yeah, once you get, I want to tell you something, Peaches. That's a very good point. You know, you sort of get into the role of it. Now, have I thrown out some stuff I'm going to regret? Yeah, I'm sure of that. But I've got stuff there that I've had there for 20 years and never touched. So, yeah, that stuff's pretty easy. Now, the other thing I have found, and some of you will relate to this, I'm actually more organized than I thought I was. So, for example, when we were going through the stuff in the garage yesterday, I actually have 2 Christmas trees and I think 10 boxes of Christmas ornaments and things. And I don't do Christmas. Do any of you relate to this? When I say I don't do Christmas, I'm not big into Christmas. I mean, I'll put up a tree every now and then, and I'll put some decorations up, but it's not my thing. Well, you see, Jody, with an E, this is exactly why I'm doing it. I'm recording it because you guys have been saying to me that it is helping you. Hang on, Erin, what you're saying here to answer your question. I hope this is pretty much the same. Well, you know something, Erin? I'm glad that it sounds a lot like Jody's problem, not Jody, Lauren's problems. Um, yeah, she also had an infection on her leg that wasn't getting better. So I'm sorry that you've got that pressure sore. But Erin, you know what I was saying to somebody not so long ago was that I am amazed that you don't have more pressure sores than you complain of. Yeah, so about the Christmas boxes, if I'm not big into Christmas, why have I got 6 or maybe 10 boxes marked Christmas? Do any of you relate to this? I have got ornaments for 2 trees, and I rarely put up one. I didn't even put one up this year, but I do like my half tree. I will hang on to that. So what I've got to do is actually sort through those boxes and take the 10 boxes and maybe sort them down into 3. Which Christmas decorations do I actually put on the tree? That box will stay. The tree will stay. Oh, well, thank you so much. Hey, you know what I'm going to do this week, Jody with an E? You never guess what I'm going to do this week. I've got some friends of mine that are getting married in April, and I'm going to take, I don't know if any of you have done this, I'm going to take a casserole dish and turn it over and then etch onto the back of the casserole dish so that when you look at the casserole dish, it will show through cooking up love or something. You know what I did? I don't know if any of you have ever done that. How many wedding presents, those of you who are married, how many wedding presents do you still use? And I was looking through how many wedding presents I had, that I still used. And guess what I noticed? Pyrex. Plain glass Pyrex. Never goes out of style. Goes with any kitchen color. And then I thought, that's what I'm going to do. And what I did was I took a nice square-sized casserole, not the big one, but a square-sized plain glass one, and I'm going to etch it. Has anybody done any etching? You never bothered to get married. Yeah. Now, do I care whether it's on their wedding list? No, not really. It's what I want to give them. Yes, so it's amazing, isn't it? How few of your wedding presents you still use. And that's why I sat down and I looked at my stuff and I went, let me have a look through the various rooms. And I've been divorced a long time. But what things have I got that were wedding presents? Okay, so here we go, Jody. So I will record it. Is that what I hear? Oh, so you got the catch-22. You need the medicine to suppress your immune system, but because your immune system is suppressed, you're getting the infection. Ah, there's a catch-22, Erin. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Do you think I should do a test run first? Or do you think I should just get in there and see what I can do? Now, I'm thinking that I'd have to invert the writing because it's got to be the right side when you look at it, right? So it means I've got to invert the writing. Anybody got that picture? Because if this is the dish, and if you want the writing to show here, so when you look into it, the writing at the bottom has to be inverted. So wall clocks are a good thing. Pity I didn't know that. I'll do that for the next wedding. Mm. Do you know, that's funny because when I look at the very few things my mom had with her when she died, a wall clock was one of them. You'll watch whatever I post. Do you know something, Jody, with an E? That's so funny. I've had people. I know when I've been speaking, it happened to me more than once when they said, I could listen to you talking about peeling oranges and it would be fun. I go, thank you so much. So, Jody, I've checked the videos and I've got the stuff. You want me to do it on a mirror as well? Oh, as a starting thing, you mean? A test. But in a mirror, I don't have to reverse it. I was thinking about trying it on a glass so that Jody would be happy. Hmm. What's my idea? Waking up is a good way to start a perfect day. It's not true, Linda, but thank you. Oh, for those of you who haven't seen it, did you want to see my picture of the week? Hang on. But what I was wondering was, and you guys need to help me with this, when I put these videos automatically stay up. I can actually take them off air, but they automatically stay up. But I was thinking, should I start editing them through to say, at this point we started talking about this subject? How would I best? I don't want to have to keep going through hours and hours of video there. Okay, so this is my picture of the week. I really enjoyed doing this. I have to get it in the right light. Can you see the bronze in that? And we're calling it, what are we calling it, Jody? We're calling it macchiato, coffee macchiato. So that was fun to do. Now it's got to have about 4 coats of varnish on it yet, but I was really happy with that. And I did another one. Caramel macchiato. That's exactly it. Hang on a second. Okay, so, and this is the other one I did. And the true colors of this is a sort of purpley color down to a lavender color. This is purple, not black, just so that you know. So this was another one that I quite liked. And somebody was saying that I should do some as giveaways. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do with those. I am going to be asking you guys to give me some input, though. Are you all connected to me on Facebook? What's the word? Do you follow me on Facebook? There we go. That's the word. Do you follow me on Facebook? Mm. Jody with an E. It's only taken me a year to get this far. And I probably have done thousands of small ones. I really recommend if you start it, Jody with an E, Jody with an E, if you start on paper. I literally do a lot of painting on paper, and only when the colors are working and I like it do I throw it onto something else. That sounds very productive, Carrie. Well done. I'm proud of you. Doesn't matter. I want to tell you something, Missy. That's what I love about this art. Okay, so Linda in the UK, Linda, UK, have you tried the Chinese bread recipes? I'm going to take this out and touch it, but it is mine. I'm not going to share this one. But I want to tell you something. This makes the greatest bread. It's called Zhangho or Shanghai, or it begins with a TS. No, I know, that's why I'm telling you about it. I'm probably going to do a video, but you might want to just Google Chinese bread. Oh, I want to tell you, and not only is it fluffy, but also it stays longer in the fridge. And basically what you do, Linda, do you know how to make white sauce? Like for onion sauce, or for those Brit people, things like bread sauce. I've got lamb. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so what you do, you take your ingredients that you would normally use for your bread, okay, which includes flour and water, and take maybe half a cup of flour. I think I used a little bit more, and mix it up with some of the water. Okay. I put mine in my magic bullet to make sure it's well and truly well mixed, and then put that roux, that flour and water, into the microwave and cook it for like a minute, and then really stir it up well. I've used regular flour and self-raising. They both worked. But just take some of the flour. You know, you normally put in 5 cups of flour, then take out half a cup and make it into a roux. Cook the roux. Make sure the roux is totally lump-free. It says let it cool, but what I do is just add some more milk to it. I actually add some milk to it to water it down and cool it down, and then you just add it all into the normal mix. I don't know why it works so well, but I want to tell you, it makes the greatest bread. And if any of you are trying to lose weight, the way I halved my bread intake was to halve the size of my rolls. Instead of a loaf of bread, I make big rolls of bread. So when I want a sandwich now, this is the size of my sandwich. Does that make any sense to anybody but me? Linda, you can do that calculation. You got a brain on you. Hi there, May. Good to see you. Welcome back. So this, now, do any of you want me to? Yeah, it really, I want to tell you, it works. So instead of having a big loaf, I make smaller loaves, and I still have a sandwich, but half the bread. Duh. Do a video. Okay. I'll do a video in my spare time, right? Now, what I've started to do, I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've started to do this week in the studio, or this week downsizing, or this week, because I've decided maybe that's a better way to do it. So I take all the little bits of footage that I've got on a particular subject, and I'll just edit that through into one video. Yeah, Linda, when I can. A little busy at the moment. So my question to you guys is, we should actually give everybody who's new here, who's never ever been to a broadcast with me before. Make great burger buns. The other thing that I just wanted to mention that I didn't realize is that if you put bread dough into the fridge, it would still continue to rise. Did you know that? Not in the freezer, but just in the fridge. Very interesting. So now I just make it, put it in the in the fridge overnight, and when I get up the next morning, it's all, like Easter. Easter is next week, isn't it? Is Easter next week? Somebody tell me. When's the end of Lent? Yeah, I made that mistake too, Em. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We have a few basic rules that we should talk about. Number one, and especially here on YouTube, we do need to watch our language, all right? Because it can get me struck. And I'm sure you don't want that. Hi, Melody. Good to see you. Next Sunday, Mars bars. I can have Mars bars. I gave up Mars bars for Lent. All right, that's one thing. So please, watch your language. And the moderators, I do need you to be very aware of that. The other thing is that when I try and help people, you'll hear me every now and then say, I'm about to hit you with a 2x4. Now, what that means is that I need to tell you a bit of truth that might not be comfortable. Does that make sense? And as Carrie will tell you, I've hit her so many times that she's got calluses now, But I will always ask first. Yeah, I will say, I need to hit you with a 2x4. Do I have your permission? Okay. Jody, Jody, I had to hit with a 2x4 because Jody is just such a nice human being. Yeah. And we're going to be talking about this on a future broadcast, but she, the enabling queen, I should get her to do the broadcast, actually. Do any of you know about that? That you're so nice to your friends that you, instead of helping them, just continue to enable them. You don't hold them accountable. You're always picking up the pieces. You always feel responsible for their mood. It goes on and on. Do any of you relate to this? Carrie's getting better, though. So we're going to do a series on enablers and what it looks like and what it sounds like. We had a great discussion on Friday, and one of the broadcasts on Friday, where I was explaining that a best friend of mine, when I thought I was going, I was going to go to live in Maine, which would have made Jody happy had I known her then. I was going to go and live in Maine, and my best friend said, "If you try doing that, I'm going to lie in front of the airplane so it can't take off." And I went, "Wow, so that's not a friend either." And she went, "What?" I said, "A friend wouldn't do that." Does that make sense to anybody? That is somebody being selfish. That's not a friend. I don't want you to go because I will miss you. Well, hello. And it's one of the things that I try and help people with that are going through loss. Half the reason we are so upset when we lose somebody is not about losing them. It's about us. How can I cope without them? You know what I mean? It's just like instead of being happy that they've moved on to a happier place. So we spend quite a bit of time talking about these sort of things. So if you know anybody that right. So, I look at it and go, we all understand these things. And if we understand them, it means that we can laugh at them. If we can laugh at them, we can get past them. And I think more than anything, you will hear me say, "Oh, I'm a good one at this one. I do this one really well." um, and how many of you are street team people? And the reason I ask this is because if you're a street team person, you know how much time I spend all year dealing with December stuff. And it's really difficult to get people to understand how much stress there is attached to that and how much work goes into it. And what I'm delighted to have is a team of my own that looks after me and keeps me sane while I'm doing December stuff, which is all year. How long have I lived in BC? I came here in 1986. So Jody, where are you? You're in BC as well, aren't you? You're like on the island or something. Why do I think you're on the I don't know. Why do I think you're on the island? Weird. 32 years. Thank you. Yeah, and Jody, you remember that this situation that came up this week, right? And I said, I can feel I'm beginning to get tempted to enable, and I'm not going to do it. Right? And it sounded like I was being such a horrible person. But what that person needed wasn't an enabler. What they needed was a friend to hold them accountable because that's an adult. So we talk about a lot of normal stuff here. Colorado, that's nowhere near the island. Okay. All right. Now, normally about this time of the day, just so that you know, on a Sunday, it's not the first house. I tell stories about one executive who said he came to listen to me speak once because he was fed up with his staff saying, "Well, you know what Sal would say." Well, you know something, Carrie? That's what a friend does. right? A friend stops you from enabling people. And you realize, for those of you who aren't happy, for those of you, in trying to recover from those sort of behaviors, it's so easy to slip back into those things. And that's what, if you like, we just have a self-help group every week, but with hopefully a bit of humor. Anyway, about this time of the year, the time of each broadcast on a Sunday, they will say to me, and they haven't yet, what are we having for dinner? Because on Sunday evenings, I cook for my tenants to thank them for the help they give me around the house. They help take the garbage out and mow the lawns and do stuff. So on Sundays, I try and do a really nice meal for them. And tonight we are doing, I got a pot roast in, a beef pot roast. And I make the best Yorkshire puddings this side of the pond. And I've got a very bad news. Very bad news. Do not try and make Yorkshire puddings with self-raising flour. I don't know why I bought self-raising flour this week instead of regular flour. I did everything else the same way, and they just didn't rise up at all. But I'm not beating up on myself. I'm just going, we got hockey pucks for Yorkshires tonight. And I know not to buy self-raising flour again. Yep. However, I am going to try, because Jodie's a big one on this one, I am going to try roasting my potatoes. No, my vegetables. Yeah, listen, they're still going to taste good with the gravy, Linda. You and I know that. There's no such thing as bad Yorkshire, really. And the bread, definitely, yeah. I already sent the bread down and said, this is to make up for the Yorkshire puddings that are not so good later. Anyway, so I wanted to ask, have any of you roasted your vegetables on a regular basis? Because Jodie is big into this. Jodie, I just wanted to double check. I've put the yams and the real potatoes on one side and the other sort of vegetables on the other, because I've got a feeling that the potatoes will cook differently from the cauliflower and the broccoli, for example. Am I correct in that? That I should put the real potatoes, yams, and onions in first? Not jam, yam. Sweet potato, Linda. Is she thinking, do you think? Oh, there we go. The potatoes will take longer. Okay, that's what I thought. Oh, put jam on the Yorkshires. No, I'm not doing jam on Yorkshires. I'm sorry. I know some people do that. For me, it's about gravy and Yorkshires. I could go without the beef as long as I could have gravy in the Yorkshires. Isn't it weird? And yeah, so that's going to be quite good. So what else? Okay, so do you all have the email address if you want to have topics you want me to talk about, either on a vlog or on a broadcast? So it's really simple. It's just at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. Yeah, I've done that. And that's what made me think, wait a minute, they're going to cook at different times. You smoked up the kitchen. That must have been exciting, Jodie with an E. So don't put too much oil, is what I'm hearing. And what temperature did you do it at? I'm thinking about 375, or do I need more? No. Do you grill them or do you bake them? Yeah, well, get over it, Linda. It's time you dusted off that computer. Yeah. You mean you can't send an email from your you can't send an email from your phones or your tablets, you guys? Come on. All right, so you want me to vlog the bread thing? All right, I will do that next time I do it, which won't be now for another few days. 450 too high. 375 is what I thought. Yeah. You really, Linda, you're still right. Isn't that amazing? Okay, now Carrie is my taskmaster on the downsizing side. So this week's goal, does anybody goal that they want to? Wow, Carrie, that's amazing. Does anybody got procrastination that they're trying to get over? Because we've got a team of people that help people who are procrastinating. So this week, I want to, without excuses, I want to literally spend sort of like 1 hour still finished. I'm nearly finished in the bedroom now. 1 hour in the bedroom, 1 hour in the dining room, living room, and then 1 hour in the craft room and studio, and then 1 hour in the garages. In the garage and what do you call it? Wait for it. Storage room. So Carrie, that I want to do at least that, but preferably do that 4 times. 3 times anyway. And I'm allowed sort of a half-hour break in between. You know, when I saw how much we done in 2 hours, it was amazing. Okay, so Jody, you need to, are you going to, or do you need to? Yeah, I have to. I have to. Because I don't know if you found this, Jody, with an E, but once you start, you forget to stop and you actually do too much. So what I do is I go like a, bat out of hell for an hour and then I stop and I report back to the team. Yeah, you understand the difference, Jody. One is I really need to do it. Well, you've been really needing to do it for at least a couple of weeks. So yeah, what's the difference? Jody, it was like me lifting the rug that the aquarium had sat on, right? I really need to lift that to find out whether the floor is destroyed, whether there is a colony of spiders under it, or whether it's fine. I really need to do that. But it took me 3 hours to get the courage to actually lift it and find out. And do any of you understand that one? Yeah, Linda, I remember when you moved. Yeah. You see, Jody, that's why you need me in your life, right? You see, that's the funny thing. Once you sort of get in the groove, it's amazing what you can get done. As I said, I could not believe. Did any of you see the pictures of my garage? I don't know if I can find them again. I've got to find out where I took those initial pictures. But literally, you had to walk sideways to get through my garage. Do any of you relate to that? And now I've got an empty garage, just about. I don't necessarily want to move to a smaller place. I need to move because I have a very big house and it's too much for me to cope with on a pension. So I need to be able to sell the house, take the money from that house and pay for something outright so I don't have mortgages and all I'm paying for is running the house, not owning the house. Yeah, Carrie, what I do is that means that you don't have a day that you do wash on. See, I always say to people, do you think about brushing your teeth in the morning? Do you think about opening and closing your eyes, during the day? No, because it's part of your life, right? It's subconscious stuff. It's just like, okay, it's time to brush my teeth. Do you forget to put your underwear on? No, why not? Because it's part of your routine. That sounds like a lot of work for two people. If you're talking about a wash for two people, oh, you like my air cleaners? They work. Are you talking about the vents ones or the ones pulling the dust as I move? Carrie, I would recommend doing a wash twice a week. Do you have a in-suite laundry? Yeah. Okay, so Sundays I have to make sure that you've put your laundry away. So to me, I find that a lot of these sort of tasks you need to have a day. Yeah, Melody does a little bit every day. So you've got a family, Melody. Am I correct in that? Well, Linda, I think we all have things that we're struggling with, and that's why I'm talking on the broadcast about these things so that everybody can understand they're not the only one. Right? Yeah, so Melody finds that doing a wash for a family a little bit every day is better than, being tied to the washer and dryer all week. Yeah, I do laundry twice a week. Funny enough, I do them on the days when I paint. I don't know why. And it's the worst thing because I got to get all tidied up and cleaned up and get out of, the wet painting clothes to go down and do the laundry. But that's when I do it. So actually, sometimes I do it on Mondays. If my mind is really working, I do it on Mondays as well. All right, now I need to go and finish cooking the roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. You do 2 times a day? That's a lot of wash, Linda. Hey, it must be midnight your way. Now that I realize it, it's getting late. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so everybody, thank you for being here. Now, do I gather that I just leave the whole video up, and so that if ever you want to watch it, you can, or should I be editing these videos down? That was an interesting thing, Melody. That pushy or smart. I more than halved the cost of my CPAC machine. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but I was wondering whether I should skim through it. Okay, but I was wondering whether I should skim through it and just put a couple of markers in there. So if you want to discuss this, it starts here. Would that be helpful? So that if you miss the broadcast, you can know some of the subjects that we talked about. It would take a little bit of extra work, but I'm proud of you for taking the breaks, Carrie. It took a lot of for you to understand that you need to do that. All right, guys, I'm out of here to go cook. So big hugs to you all. Keep sending in the questions you'd like me to talk about, because that makes it much more interesting than me sitting here just flapping my lips for no reason at all. I will, next time I make bread, I'll videotape it. And thank you for being out there. And please remember to hit the like, thumbs up button thing, wherever that is. If you can find it, click on it. Please continue to, I love that you're all interacting so much. It's wonderful. Big hugs to you too, Kim. And know that everybody has got their stuff they're dealing with. And if the more we talk about it, the more we make it just normal, because we're all dealing with it, including me. Yeah, you give Nicholas a big hug from me as well, Linda. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. We'll catch up with you on Friday. This is DearMamaSal saying, look after one another, but most of all, remember to look after yourself, because you are no use to anybody unless you're looking after yourself. All right, bye-bye for now, everybody. And this is where I hunt for the little button I have to hit to end the stream. Bye-bye. Do I want to end this?